Hello YouTube, this is Benson from Volumoto Customs. Thank you so much for joining again. If you're new here, welcome to the channel, and if you're a subscriber, welcome back. In this one we're back at the Triumph and we are going to be rebuilding the forks. I don't really know what the internal conditions are, so I just went ahead and I got basically everything we need to rebuild the forks, except for the stanchions because they look like they are in fantastic condition. So we've got a full O-ring and bushing kit from all balls, not supported. We've got some dust seals and some factory Triumph seals as well for the forks. I've 3D printed some clamps so I can safely attach the forks into my workbench, and I've prepared my work table or workbench as well, so I can also organize all the parts that are coming apart and mark them with a marker. So yeah, let's get into it. So we take the top cap off by loosening it. It's just a normal thread. And then we start removing these washers. Well, we remove one washer first. And then we're going to remove or loosen this nut here. There is a special tool that you can slide in here that will hold everything up, but to be honest, you can easily do it without it. So after you loosen the nut, you can just take the whole top cap out with the adjusters, and we will disassemble this later on. What you can do now is you can push the bottom of the fork up to expose everything, and you can take the spacer, the washer, the spacer, you've got another spacer, and then you've got the spring. Put everything aside in the right order so you remember where it came from. And now it's time to actually empty the oil. I'm just gonna pump it a bit so hopefully I get most of the oil out. We're gonna pop out this cap. And remove, well, not remove just yet, but loosen the bolt. So I'm gonna flip the fork back around, the right side up. Now I'm going to remove the bolt, and I have the bucket under, so all the extra oil that comes out will drip into the bucket. So now that that is out, I can actually pull out the whole damping. The next step is to remove the dust seal, and I'm gonna be using this plastic kitchen spatula so I don't damage the fork leg. I'm just gonna slowly jam it in so I can get a gap between the fork leg and the dust cap. And when I have an even gap around, I'm just going to use a screwdriver. I'm gonna put it back in here to protect the fork leg, and I'm going to push the the screwdriver in and slowly wiggle it up a bit. And now we have the dust seal out. The next step is to remove the circlip holding the seal in place. To do that, I'm gonna use a small pick and I'm gonna just pry right behind and pull it up, being careful not to scratch anything in the process. We have the clip off. So now, by pulling on the fork extension itself, we can remove the seal. So now that the stanchion is out, we can just pull the fork seal off. That's gonna be trash anyway. Then we also take off the washer and we take off the bushing. Something strange is that both of the stanchions have this discoloration. It's not pitting because the surface is completely flush and there's no scoring or anything that I can feel. I'm gonna remove this last bushing as well. I'm gonna just put a screwdriver in between and then I can slide the whole thing down. I'm careful not to damage or scratch anything with the screwdriver, but the bushing itself, which is okay because it's getting replaced. Just so you guys can see, this was the oil in the forks. Yeah, not exactly something you want to see in there. So the last steps for the disassembly is removing the adjuster here, because this has an O-ring on it as well. And we're also going to disassemble this part here. I'm just gonna unscrew the damping adjuster. And the last thing to do is also remove this from the top cap, which is the preload adjuster. This also has an O-ring on it, which I'm going to be replacing. There we go, the O-ring is here. The next step is getting everything cleaned, and then we're gonna be ready for assembly. I've got the fork legs cleaned up in the parts cleaner. They are pretty nice now. The inside was super dirty, there was so much gunk coming out. They're good now. The only thing I don't like is that the paint is pretty worn on the bottom half and the black bits, but I got into the conclusion that I can paint these even after the rebuild. I just have to tape off the important parts. So we're gonna go ahead with the rebuild and decide what we're gonna do later regarding the paint. There's also a chance that I'm getting a different set of forks for these, and these might go on the R80. For the rest of the fork, we're gonna use an ultrasonic cleaner and some brake cleaner spray to clean it up. The only thing I've done off camera the other day is I've removed the internals of the damping cylinder. This is in here, and you have to put the bolt in, knock it with a tiny hammer, and it goes further in. And then you have a circlip in here that doesn't let this part come out. So you remove the circlip, and then you can knock this end part here with the shims and all out of the cylinder. I decided to do this because there's so much dirty oil everywhere inside the fork that I just want to get a very thorough cleaning. And I also wanted to check how everything looks here, but fortunately all seems fine. The next thing I'm going to do is to remove all the O-rings so I can replace them. And also I don't really want them in the ultrasonic cleaner. Inside the cleaner I've got a carburetor cleaner solution, which is also safe for aluminium and all sensitive materials such as the brass parts in here. So we're just gonna remove all the O-rings, and then we're gonna get everything inside and get everything nice and clean. I'm just gonna put all the small parts in the basket, and afterwards I'm gonna hold in any of the bigger parts that didn't actually fit in here, but I think most will do. Let's go. I'm gonna take out the basket of parts. I think overall this quick cleaning was absolutely necessary to, you know, get everything up to the standard where we can start assembling things. So I've just assembled the damping chamber. Unfortunately, I didn't press the record button, so this you'll be able to see in the ASMR version after this section where I actually talk through things. And yeah, I'm gonna put in the retaining clip here. Taking this apart is removing the retaining clip and knocking this inside cylinder or internal part out. So I've got the retaining clip here, just gonna press it in by hand, and then I'm gonna use the help of this pick here. I'm just gonna place it in the knock. So now this is together. I'm gonna be placing O-rings on everything. I'm just gonna apply a gentle coat of fork oil to all these O-rings. We're also gonna need a new washer, which was, as you can remember, missing. Of course, gonna have to adjust this after everything is together, and we're gonna set a baseline and we're gonna go from there. First, take the extension and install both the bushing and the seal. I'm also gonna oil this a tiny bit. We're gonna use a screwdriver to make some space here so we can put it over. And then we're gonna install the outer. The next step now is to get our clamps and install the bottom fork in the vise. What I'm gonna do is just give these also a light coat on the outside, and I'm gonna push everything in all the way. I've 3D printed this small ring, and this will both serve as the seal drive on this side, and I can push the bushing in on this side with the small ring. I think that sits in correctly now. remove the tool. And then I can install my washer. In place. The next step would be to put on the seal, and to not damage it, most people use the packaging tape trick, which I'm also gonna do because it's pretty convenient. So what you do is just put a tiny bit amount of packaging tape here, and you do that so when you're pushing on the seal, which is pretty tight, it doesn't get damaged in this lip here. I've got the seal, and it's the side with the text up, or the writing. I'm just gonna put a coat of oil on the inside, so I help it get on there without too much friction. And I'm going to get it on just like this, quick and easy. And then I put on my seal driver the other way around, and same procedure as before. I'm just gonna pull up on this tension here, push down with the fork a bit so I have some leeway, and I'm gonna apply a few rounds of this tape around the edge. Push in the seal. And it has clicked in everywhere nicely. I've got the bolt here for the bottom. So this will need to be torqued down. Yeah. Then of course the spring, then the washer and the other washer, and then we put this one in place. And just as random info, I have completely forgot to install the dust seal, so I'll just do that before I proceed any further. Same procedure as with the fork seal. Just some tape to protect the dust seal or dust cap from being damaged by this sharp edge here. The damping chamber is inside, as well as the spring, the washer, the spacer, and the other washer. And what I've done is I've put this nut all the way down to the bottom of the thread, and I'm going to mark it. I'm just gonna put a mark on this side here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do 5 full rotations up. That's 2, 3, 4. Actually, I'm gonna stay at 4. I think that's pretty good. So I'm gonna stay at 4 full rotations so I can match the other side to this. And ooh, what was that? That was strange. Then I'm going to snug this down to knot. And the last thing to do is fill the forks up with oil, well, the fork. And in order to do that, I'm going to use 10V Motul Expert fork oil. And I'm gonna use this measuring cup as well as a syringe to put in the final precise amount. So this is 500 milliliters. Just gonna pour it into the fork. So we've got another 50 milliliter here. And we're going to do 39 cc's for the last fill. Just gonna move the damping cylinder a bit to hopefully pump it up with oil. And then we are going to put back our washer here, raise the cylinder, or sorry, the stanchion, and push down. And we've got a fork ready. Well, one side, and of course I shouldn't forget about torquing the 2 bolts. But to be honest, I forgot to bring over my torque wrench, so that will have to wait till next time. But anyways, that's one fork leg. And then I'm gonna just assemble the other one now. And there I'm not really gonna talk anything. I'm just gonna let you watch the process from start to finish.